So, Vanessa Guillien. Yes, how to pronounce her name is Guillien. Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them, make them into one. And I'm a Discovery influencer. That's indeed a fact. So, back in April of 2020, 20-year-old Vanessa Guillien disappeared from her Texas post. She was a Fort Hood soldier, right? She disappeared from her Texas post, as even to this day, no one has seen or heard from Vanessa. Vanessa was a private first-class Fort Hood soldier during the time of her disappearance. Again, on April 22nd is when she, yes, around approximately 12 p.m. was the last time Vanessa was seen alive in a parking lot of her squadron headquarters. The U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Command verified that information. There was I believe it was a week before Vanessa was seen in a parking lot on surveillance camera of a restaurant. Yeah, a week before she went missing. She was seen on surveillance video of the restaurant in the parking lot, walking across the parking lot, right? But once she got inside, the restaurant owner said he sensed that something was wrong. Like, she wasn't her usual self. She would usually come into the restaurant with other soldiers, right? Her friends that were soldiers, right? And so they would often be, enjoying themselves, laughing and giggling when they were at the restaurant, all of them, including Vanessa, right? And yet this go around, when she was in the restaurant owner said she noticed she wasn't her happy, upbeat self. Like, something seemed like it was wrong. Something seemed like it was bothering her. And when she came in a restaurant, she came by herself in place of being there with her soldier friends, right? So on the day Vanessa went missing, she texted her boyfriend stating she was on her way to work and she would get in touch with him, the boyfriend, when she had time to do so, as soon as possible, right? When she could. So belongings of Vanessa in which were found. Vanessa's ID card was found along with her barracks room key, right? Her wallet and her car keys were all found. Each item I named were each found in the armory room in which Vanessa occupied to work. So somehow she goes missing, right? People that she knew personally could tell that something was wrong, including the restaurant owner. He didn't really know her personally, but she was more withdrawn, as in she seemed a bit uneased, or she had a vibe of uneasiness to her before she went missing, right? So it's odd that she goes missing and leaves all this behind: her ID card, her key, her car keys. All this is found in the room in which she worked in, right? That's to say, more than likely somebody within the environment unit, whatever you choose to call it, had to have played some part into this. As in, she must have went outside of that room in which she worked in. Somebody on that premises, in that premises location, did something with her, as in, you can tell. Because women, I'm thinking, usually they take their stuff with them, or they lock it up in a they're not just gonna leave that like that. Especially her wallet. She's not just gonna walk out somewhere and then just leave her wallet, right? I'm wondering if somebody called her out of the room. Somebody could have called her out of the room. Because your awareness is not really there. If somebody call you out of the room, they say, hey, come here, let me talk to you about something. And then they persuade you, say, to walk down the hall and out the building or something, right? that could have taken place. So before Vanessa's disappearance, Vanessa had issues with a sergeant. A sergeant at Fort Hood sexually harassed her, right? Her mother knows of that, as well as her family members. A sergeant at Fort Hood was sexually harassing Vanessa. The sergeant will follow Vanessa. See what I'm saying? The sergeant will follow Vanessa around when she'd go running or when she'd go to exercising. Anytime she would leave out to go anywhere, the sergeant will follow her. He sexually harassed her. And I'm thinking more than likely that has something to do with her being that vibe of withdrawn. Withdrawn, because sometimes when people, it could be male or female, either one, sexually harass you, it makes you uncomfortable. It makes you more withdrawn, right? It has a tendency to put fear in certain people, as in they don't know how to take it. They don't know, yeah, how to take it. So Vanessa was fearful to expose who the sergeant was, and she didn't report him. That could have led to her disappearance, as in why she's not being found. She could in fact be deceased because of not reporting him, right? Because if he was sexually harassing her, as I say, more than likely he was going to rape her. He may or may not have. I'm thinking he has had to have did that sort of thing, and then place a body where no one can find it, right? And that's why she's nowhere to be found, right? That sort of thing you want to report. So Vanessa felt she would have either not have been believed by authorities. She too felt she would have caused problems if she would have reported him. So that was one of the number one reasons why she didn't report him. She was not only fearful to expose who he was, but she felt that she wouldn't have been taken seriously by authorities, and she felt that she would have caused problems more than anything, right? It doesn't matter. It puts your life at risk, as in you want to report that sort of thing, as, yeah, get rid of the individual and not have you pay the price, such as you ending up dead, right? So mother to Vanessa claims Vanessa had become more withdrawn before her disappearance, and her mother questioned Vanessa on being so withdrawn. I mentioned that in the opening of my video. That sergeant, he more than likely had something to do with that. Because to become that withdrawn is to say you were leery of something, as in he either said something to you, or you never know. Even people have been known to sexually harass people and threaten to take their life if a person say something. You see what I'm saying? You never know what he said to her, whispered in her ear, or any of that. He could have been one of those individuals that were going to the restaurant with them. You see what I'm saying? When she was going to that restaurant, right? And I mentioned about the owner saying the last time he seen her, right? One of those people, you never know. But then again, those were soldiers. You still don't know who in that, right? She may have said sergeant and it might have been soldier. Because to be questioned by a mother is to say a mother is going to want answers, and Vanessa might have lied and said that a sergeant could have been sexually harassing her, and yet it might have been one of her close friends, one of those soldiers who was going to the restaurant to eat with her. You have to, uncover stuff, and not just sometimes take the victim's word for it completely, because even victims have been known. She was on her way to becoming a victim, and if she's dead, she's a victim. You can't just say, well, she said sergeant. She might have, and yet it might have been one of those soldiers amongst her going to the restaurant with her. She might have just used sergeant as a cover. See what I'm saying? Some people will let that bypass. Maybe one of those friends could have been a male or something like that, and it could have been one of the soldiers eating at the restaurant, right? And I'm sure even surveillance tape had to have picked that up on one occasion of them going to that restaurant, because if the surveillance tape picked up the video of her walking one of the last times across a restaurant parking lot, is to say the tape footage has to be there, right? So Vanessa's sister is dissatisfied with the search results on the end of authorities. Vanessa's sister, feels so much should be done in the search for her sister since she went missing from a military base. The reward being offered is set at 25,000. If anyone knows anything on Vanessa's disappearance, the army is who set the reward of 25,000. If you know anything on Vanessa's disappearance, you can contact the In Pursuit with John Walsh hotline 1-833-3-PURSUE is the hotline where tips can be dropped. That's Vanessa up above my head, right? So her measurement, such as the details of her body frame, Vanessa is 5'2" tall and weighs 126 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen in a black t-shirt and purple fitness type of pants while in the parking lot of, yes, at her squadron headquarters, right? But I had to pull that one out. It may have been a sergeant. It may have been a soldier. Trust to believe I can see that type of thing happening. A soldier might have had something to do with her disappearance more than any sergeant. And even depending on how forward that individual is, like some people might say, well, she would be more fearful or leery of a sergeant because of the power in that, right? Maybe not, right? Because even sometimes soldiers can be just as commanding, direct, and forward. Soldiers can just as much as sergeants. I'm thinking a soldier has something to do with her disappearance more so than a sergeant. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking she might have used that as a cover so it wouldn't be questionable. Because if a mother is questioning, well, why are you so on the defense, or why are you so withdrawn, or why are you so, I can just see Vanessa possibly just using a soldier. Because if a mother, some people get to thinking, well, if my mom get to question too much, she might figure out that it was one of the guys, soldiers around me. So let me just say that it was a sergeant. See what I'm saying? Helps to dive deeper. So we're on investigationdiscovery.com. The ID logo stands in the far left corner. Live now, grave mysteries. Yeah, because even FBI and everyone else have stood in question of, well, soldier, right? Maybe no, they were in question of FBI, and everybody else, even her family, is in question of sergeant. But you don't ever want to bypass the soldier, as in count them out with that. You want to, in fact, look into that as in, could one of those soldiers she have been friends with, say, wanted a relationship or something with her, outside of just, say, whoever sexually harassed her? Because sometimes you can become friends with someone and they want sex, and they might just want you, as in they might just have control issues, and you might not want sex from them or relationship or any of that type of stuff, right? You might not want anything, and then next thing you know, the trauma begins and you come up missing or something. Nobody knows, even I don't know. And yet I'm thinking somewhere on that base, which is why even her sister said someone has to have some answers, knowing that all occurred, yes, in the military environment. Somebody have had to seen that. Her being followed at some point. Somebody have had to see. Remember, that's a lot of days to be working on site like that, and somebody's following you and nobody see that, right? Unless it's on a hush, on a low, somebody's not telling that they seen it, right? But to be friends with soldiers is to say, nobody will look at that as traumatizing, as in nobody will see a soldier being next to a female soldier, a male following a female soldier. Nobody, because if they're friends anyway, as I say, then nobody's gonna see anything, no problem, as in it's not gonna appear as if something's wrong, right? Sometimes people's friends close to them and all the rest help to cause problems, and even the FBI needs to look more further in that. So, new episodes to receive an audio visual preview is a click the play button right here. You would in fact receive audio visual preview from Investigation Discovery. Unlocked episodes to receive an audio visual preview. It's the same thing, click the play button. Unlocked series. Recommended for you. Shouts out to Lieutenant Jokinda as well as Paula. ID Go original series. Investigation Discovery. To receive a newsletter from Investigation Discovery is to type your email address in and click next, and you would in fact receive a newsletter from Investigation Discovery. To be that beautiful and go missing, as I say, that was a problem with that. More than likely somebody had an issue. She didn't want them and they wanted her. And yet, is it worth taking a life? As in, is it worth killing somebody or something? And that killing somebody, I don't think a person just is sexually harassed and then goes missing. I think there's more to that, more than likely death up underneath that, her being dead, as somebody dragged her somewhere, killed her or something. But is it really that worth it? As in, you got what you wanted, sex or something from her, and yet was it really worth taking her life over that? Some people feel that it is or was, right? That's stupid in itself. Because there's all type of women out here, right? It just is. I wonder how that person looked. As in, whoever had something to do with it, I wonder how they looked in appearance. Maybe could be why they had something to do with her disappearance, because not everybody is attractive like that, which is why they're not wanted, right? That's how some people, women, children, even men, come up missing. To not be wanted by another person is to, stuff like that. So, may you enjoy your day, viewers. Dear viewers, let me know what you think and feel about the video. Who could have did what? Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know once again what you feel about the video. May you enjoy your day. I will in fact enjoy mine, and I'm gone for now. 1.